You're coming with me. I'm taking you all to the gifting bowl. It's 1 a.m. About 1 a.m. in the morning. You can see me okay. But hang on 1 second. You're coming with me. I'm taking you all to the gifting bowl. You can see me okay. But hang on 1 second. Yeah, wow. And I don't mind the dark, right? I enjoy it. Even though sometimes you hear some pretty strange things. It's all good. It's all good, right? Footfalls. Footfalls. All right, everybody. Okay, so I'm back at my house, and we will get into the question, the Q&A. See you in a bit. Good day, folks. It's a good day. It's a good day. Hello, everybody. So we're doing a Q&A video today, and for those that are new here, are unsure of what I'm doing here, is I'm doing a series of Q&A videos. If you go into where the videos are, there is a subsection there with, I think one is Bigfoot audio. There's a Q&A section, the Q&A videos, and the reason for me putting them up is because as new people come on board, I'm getting the same questions asked over and over and over. Instead of me sounding like a broken record, I can, point them and send them off to the Q&A videos, and hopefully I answer their questions there. A lot of people asking questions through emails and messenger and comment section. I'm just, in a way, managing my time, right? Managing my time. So, again, we are talking about Bigfoot eyeshine, and this question is coming to you from Janine. This is coming through a voicemail, through a voice message, through the Facebook Messenger app. If anybody's interested, I enjoy these because I get to hear your voice. Something to consider, everybody will hear your voice. If you don't mind your voice being heard, and if you're okay with people hearing your voice, this is a good way to do it. I enjoy it because I get to hear it in their words, in their own words, in their voice. It's a little bit more personal. I enjoy it. I do enjoy the emails. Don't get me wrong. I do have a stack. We do have to go through, and as we go forward here, I'll, every so often work on these Q&A videos and get them all caught up. If there is anybody else, though, that has any more questions that you would have me talk about or answer, I will try my best to answer your question. I will base everything on my own personal experience and what I know personally. There's a lot of things that people have asked. I do have some of those questions coming up. We got questions about dogmen coming up, which I don't like talking too much about, but I will at some point. Again, I will try my best to answer them in the best way that I can. So this question is coming from Janine. She is in Stettler, Alberta, which is in my province. Stettler is probably about 5-hour driving. If I was to drive there, it would be a 5-hour drive south and east of where I am located, and beautiful area. All right, let's get into this.
Good morning, Robert. I thought of a question for your Q&A, and I thought I'd send it while I had a few minutes before I forget. Okay, so I look at all the videos I've watched from not only yours but many other places, and in many other places there's a report that people are reporting that they see red eyes. And I know you have Sabe walking around your yard at night. You have video of you sitting by the fire, and you can see eyes and things. I've never seen them red. I was wondering, do you see red eyes? And if you don't, is it a sign of anger with them in other situations? That might be a tough one to answer. So people are reporting it, so obviously it happens, and if you're not seeing it, it's because of your vibration, your frequency. Yeah, I just wondered if you had ever seen red eyes in any of your time sitting by the fire. Anyway, that is my question. I'll try and think of some more. I'm not sure how your Q&A is going. Are you getting a lot of questions, or I could ask a lot of newbie questions because I had a lot in the beginning, but you know, hopefully you're receiving many questions from a lot of people. Good luck out there today, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Good question. That's a good question. And yes, I have received quite a few, but still, if there's any more, or if there's any questions that you feel that you'd like to hear me, it could be a subject too that you'd like to hear me speak about, and again, keeping it to the subject of Sasquatch, Bigfoot, or anything possibly connected to them. Yeah, I believe it's tapetum lucidum. Eye shine. Okay, before we get into, I think, you know what, I think there's a couple things I need to mention or bring up before I get into that. The more you hear something and it becomes repetitive, and you keep hearing it and you keep hearing it, there are a percentage of people that just start to begin to think in that manner, in that way. It's almost like brainwash, right? You run something enough and enough times, I would say even at certain moments, people that are behind this, they understand this, and they understand, and then there are studies, they study how the human mind works, how we work, and especially within the cryptid community, whether it be about Bigfoot and dogmen, UFOs. If we look at the movies that sell, that make most money and that are the most popular, and fear sells, right? And I had just actually talked about this to one of my subscribers on Facebook Messenger. Fear sells. If you can get people afraid of something, and I don't know, it's just human nature. People like this spooky, this scary, right? And within the Bigfoot community and you know, anything surrounding that subject, they push killer Bigfoot, abduction, monster. It's just constant, right? It's continuous, because they understand how the human mind works. People that are in it for power, control, money, for selfish reasons, they know how all that stuff works, right? They know how to do this, and they will play on that, right? They will play on that. They know how to manipulate things and manipulate people and groups of people. Best example of that taking place within the last 3 years, the mandates and the shutdowns. That's all I'll say about that. But whoever thought that the whole entire world, it was like the world quit turning, right? The whole entire world stopped. That's scary, right? That's scary. Whoever thought that that could happen, and yet it happened, right? And how did it happen? Fear. It was a fear factor. It was the fear factor. You put enough fear into a group of people, and you can control how they do things and what they think, and it's straight across the board. So my point being is, we'll go back to the eye shine. Janine was talking about eye shine and it being scary. You know, there's this negative tone to it being evil. Red eyes, evil. Red eyes, scary, right? Red eyes are bad. They just attribute glowing red eyes as a scary thing. That's monster, right? It's scary. A few years back, you wouldn't have mentioned that you seen a Sasquatch or that you believe in Sasquatch, or Would you see people like myself on YouTube talking about openly, freely about Sasquatch and Sasquatch encounters? It was rare. It was kind of hushed. And if you did, people just threw you out. You're crazy. You're crazy, right? And a lot of people still are in that mindset. In the past 10 years, it's become very mainstream, very popular. And there are opportunists that jumped on the wagon, that are jumped on board, and they're trying to cash in on the subject. They see there's money to be had. There's a reputation. There's popularity. You know, there's quite a few of them jumping on board to try to cash in on the subject, right? It's all about marketing and marketing your audience. I can see this, right? I see this. And of course I pick up on it too. Being an empath, I pick up on a lot of this stuff, and they understand fear sells. Fear sells. People love to be scared, so let's keep them afraid and they'll keep coming back. So here, we got to go to the science about eye shine and why it happens and why it's in some and why it's not in others, right? And the difference in shades of color, whether it be amber, red, green, you know, yellow, white, almost white eye shine. We have to go to the reasons why it takes place in the first place, right? So tapetum lucidum, and what it is a really fine reflective membrane behind the retina in the eye. And nocturnal animals have this, and we don't. Doing too, and our cameras do it, our cell phones or our camcorders. You have that backlight setting, and what it's trying to do is, as we lose light, it's trying to grab all light it can and focus it into one area so that it can still, you can still see something in the film, like in the camera lens. And it's very similar to what's taking place with the animals, the nocturnal species. They have that reflective film behind the retina, and it's absorbing light, and that's why you get the reflection. But I think the one important thing that I should mention is there needs to be a light source shining at it in order for us to see that eye shine. I've seen stories and people are in complete darkness and all of a sudden these red eyes show up in the dark, right? You know, whether it be videos or short clips or something like that. And that is impossible unless whatever creature is back there in the complete darkness without the source of light shining on them, they'd have to have a light inside their head, right? It would have to be forming inside their brain behind their eyes to create these red glowing eyes, right? And seeing that's fake, because it doesn't make any sense at all. I would say it's not real, because there has to be a light source shining on the eye to get the eye shine. You know, that's the only way it can happen, because it's a reflection, right? It's a reflection. So there's that to consider, that there has to be an outside light source shining on the eyes to get the eye shine. Dealing with my livestock, especially with my South African Boer goats here, when we first started, like I see their eyes shining all the time at night when I go to do chores in the evening if it's dark, because they got my great big yard light, my great big yard lights and the lights that are around the barn, around the farm. I see their eyes glowing and shining all the time, every night. And there are certain ones that, there are certain subtleties. There are differences in my goats. Some are very orangey, almost amber, but the majority of them are a yellow, greenish color, and then some are bright white. I found out years back, many years back, because I think in 1995 was when we we got involved with the South African Boers. There was 4 lines, genetic lines in our herd. There were 4 does that we initially used to start this breed up program, right? And they were non-related. They were all from different places. And the one line, as years went by, all their offspring, most of the offspring off of this one doe, and years down the road, like great granddaughters, they all had very amber colored glowing eyes, whereas the other ones were more yellow and white. It was genetics involved, right? So I start looking into it, and it is that in all of the studies and the research they've done on why eye shine, why the different shades, and why different species have different colors. Genetics are playing a big part in the color and the color and brightness of the eye shine. So that is something we have to consider. And then we go to, I did find out at that same time that minerals, trace minerals, hard minerals, and they were talking about riboflavin and zinc being a factor in the color and shade, the different shade of color in the species, in whichever species you're looking at. Like owls, pretty much all the owls I've ever seen, red, really red, right? And owls aren't evil. That's the color of their eye shine. And again, they're talking about zinc and riboflavin, right? So, and they are also talking about age being a factor. And I believe that because in answer to part of your question about have I ever seen red eye shine from the Sasquatch, and I have to say first that we don't always see the eye shine from the Bigfoot, and I don't go around shining a flashlight because they don't like flashlights shining on them. But there was a time where we were working in my field, my hay field, south of my house here, which is close to the Bigfoot mint patch, and it was nighttime, and we were loading bales. We were loading square bales on the hay wagon, and it was night, and my headlights, as I was going around that bottom and corner of the field, my headlights hit trees, and boom, boom, I had 3 sets of eyes glowing in the trees, and I stopped. I didn't quite completely have the lights off of them, it wasn't, the lights weren't beaming onto them, like my high beams weren't on them, they were kind of off, so they were still getting some light hitting the trees. And there were 3 sets there, and I could see them blinking, and the one big one, and the reason why I know these are Sasquatch is because, first of all, the space in between the eyes and the different heights that they were in the trees. So there was 3 of them, and the tallest one, the biggest one, I would say about 9 feet from the ground, were very amber red, right? And they were talking about age, like that was one of the factors. That's one of the things that they talk about, the different shades in eye shine were age. And I think that was from one of the large males here, the older ones, and he had very beautiful, almost red, but amber. I turned my truck off. And the other confirmation I got that was Bigfoot, I start hearing wood knocks, and I heard a whoop, and I heard a couple of wood knocks. That was my thumbs up that was them. I have no doubt that it was Sasquatch, and it was because of, like I say, where they were, the width between the eyes, and also I got the wood knock and the whoop. So that's the only reddish colored eye shine that I've ever seen from the Sasquatch. But again, we have to think about mineral, age, genetics, the riboflavin and zinc levels in the animal, and the species, right? Years ago, we had a Maine Coon. He was big and he was beautiful. We called him Midnight. And his eyes, and he was so well-mannered, and the temperament was just so gentle. We called him a gentle giant, this Maine Coon. If he was out at night and you shone a light, or he got in the light, very red eye shine. And interestingly, we had 3 females here. He bred from those 3 females. The majority of the offspring's eyes the eye shine was red. So that's genetics. That's showing genetics there. And I think we just need to rethink these things and think about it and take a common sense approach to a lot of these things. Take in all these factors, right, to understand it. And so there could very well be groups of Sasquatch that have red eye shine, but that doesn't mean they're evil or bad or scary. It has to do with diet, genetics, age. And nowhere in the studies does temperament have anything to do with the results or the shades of color in the eye shine. So I would say, you know, if there's an angry Bigfoot, I mean, his eyes, depending on him, his genetic makeup, his family, his diet, they still might shine white. But the one thing that we know that it's telling us is they're nocturnal. So they are able to see very good in the dark, and probably the infrared. If we're to use thermal or infrared, everything's eyes glow, right? Humans including. But if we're using infrared and thermal imaging, everything glows. Everything's eyes will glow, and because it's going off of the heat, right? It's going off of heat, and not so much the physical attributes of what we're looking at. It's just picking up heat, right? And our eyes are very warm. Okay, Janine, I hope I answered your question. Yeah, we have seen almost red eye shine from the clan here. I've not tested it with any of the other clans because I won't go in there and shine lights on them. I won't do it. I respect them too much to go and bother them and frustrate them with blaring, blinding lights, right? Moose, very interesting. Just a very interesting tidbit about moose. They're not nocturnal, yet they move around at night, but their eyes do not glow. And that's probably why there's a lot of people run into moose on the highways. All the other, whether it be deer, elk, you name it, crossing the highways, you get the eye shine. The moose's eyes do not glow, and all you see is this big, hairy boom, and you hit it, right? People have mistaken them for Sasquatch too, because you don't see any eye shine, you don't see much, you just see hair, big and hairy, right? And there's a lot of deaths on our highways up here. There's a lot of moose up in Canada and in Alberta. But what was interesting about these moose is after they die, like if they're on the highway, if say one's been hit and it's on the highway and it's dead, its eyes will shine. I don't understand that. I don't know. I don't quite understand that. I haven't really researched or looked into that, but a dead moose's eyes will shine. It'll have eye shine, but one that's living and that's moving across the road at you, no eye shine. Okay, I'll leave it there. So I hope I answered your question, Janine. To sum it up and conclude with the eye shine and the Bigfoot, I don't think it has anything to do with mean Bigfoot, scary Sasquatch, and it's going to make their eyes red, glowing in the dark. And again, we need that light source shining on them to create the eye shine. That's important, because if you're back in the dark and there's no light source, and all of a sudden these beams come on and they're red, it would have to have an internal light source. That doesn't make any sense, and to me, and I'm sure it doesn't make any sense to you. So we got to keep that in mind when we're listening and watching all the stuff that's out there. All right, I'll leave it there. Again, thank you, Janine. And again, if anybody else wants to send me, whether it be a voice message or an email question form, keep it to the subject of Sasquatch or anything related to cryptids, what have you, and I will try my best to answer it in the best way that I can. Thank you all for being here, and everybody take care, and I will see you in the trees real soon. Bye for now.